jurisdiction.
Okay, so generally this really is miscellaneous subjects bill. Any of the changes are technical and or authorizing language that authorizes the use of federal funds or state funds. And that's really, I asked the Senate Secretary why this bill went here.
Yeah.
And it's because under the Clean Water State Revolving Loan Fund chapter in law,
Yeah.
you are now allowing the use of the federal EPA revolving loan fund to capitalize some of the state revolving loan funds. And that's authorized under federal law. So basically what they're doing is under the Federal Clean Water Act and the Federal Safe Drinking Water Act, the state receives money from EPA for public water drinking systems and water quality systems.
Okay.
And that goes into what's called the EPA State Revolving Loan Fund.
Yeah.
And it's supposed to be used according to a formula.
That's where you get loans to upgrade your municipal
Yeah.
water system.
Right, there's whole, but the state also has its own revolving loan funds that are capitalized by state funds. Over the past few years, there's been a lot of work on water quality, as you know, and there's been a lot of demand on these funds. EPA allows the use of those federal funds to be transferred into state funds. And so that's what a large part of this bill does. That's why it's in your committee, according to the Senate Secretary. It's just the transfer of or the authority to use those federal EPA revolving loan funds to the state revolving loan.
To transfer them from the EPA fund
Yeah,
to the state revolving loan.
Yeah,
fund.
yeah.
Why do we have two water revolving loan funds?
Because we have 10.
We have 10.
Yes. Because of their different uses. You have the EPA Clean Water Revolving Loan Fund, you have the EPA Safe Drinking Water Revolving Loan Fund, and then you have the State Water Revolving Loan Fund, and then the State Drinking Water Revolving Loan Fund. And then there's others that are largely empty, but that have been created over time.
I think we need to look at that.
Sure. So I can quickly walk through the whole
Yeah.
bill. So the first section, you passed the dam regulation bill a few years ago. Part of that was to have A&R report to you on the dam registration program. They've encountered more work than they thought in the program, and they've asked for a delay in that report from 2023 to 2025. Similarly, section 2, they were required to adopt 2 sets of rules for dam regulation. One was basically how to do registration, and the other is dam design standards. They have a lot of engineers involved in the dam design standards. It's taking a little bit longer than they thought, and they've asked for a delay in the rules for the dam design standards from 2022 to 2024. Section 3 basically changes a cross-reference to the definition of drinking waters. The current cross-reference in the shoreline encroachment bill is to an obsolete definition, and we're now cross-referencing basically the standard definition of public water. Section 4 is about salvage yards. You may not know, but salvage yards need a municipal certificate of location and an A&R license in order to operate. But a lot of people are out there basically running unlicensed salvage yards, and A&R enforces against them and asks them to remove the vehicles. It's often difficult to remove the vehicles because an unlicensed salvage yard can't operate a mobile vehicle crusher. So this language authorizes that unlicensed salvage yard to use that mobile vehicle crusher in order to get the vehicles off the property, provided that A&R approves, and then first notifies the secretary in writing of intent to close the salvage yard. Section 5 starts the language about the revolving loan funds. On page 4, you'll see that language 9 and 10, that there is $275,000 from fees collected under the Environmental Permit Fund can be used in the Vermont Wastewater and Potable Water Revolving Loan Fund, or from the fund established in subdivision 1 of this section. Subdivision 1 is the EPA Pollution Control Revolving Fund. So that's where you see the ability to take from the federal fund for some of the state funds.
And do these do similar things or essentially?
Yes, they do similar things. It's basically they provide loans and in some instances grants for failed systems. And the EPA one is often used for municipal systems.
For water systems.
Right. Okay. So section 6, actually on page 5, you're still in section 5. Again, a reference to being able to use the state fund and the federal fund kind of simultaneously. And page 5, lines 3 and 4, VITA currently implements and administers the EPA Drinking Water State Revolving Fund, and they're going to do it for the Vermont Drinking Water Fund. Similarly, the bond bank, not the bond bank, I'm sorry. On lines 11 and 12, you'll see that the Vermont EPA Pollution Control Revolving Fund and the Vermont Wastewater Potable Water Revolving Fund may be administered by a community development financial institution. So that's basically like a credit union that's basically for community development. And so that's section 6. On page 7, you'll see again being able to draw from the EPA Pollution Control Revolving Fund or from the State Wastewater and Potable Water Fund loans for drinking water.
So would this allow a municipality to access both?
Yes.
Okay, because you said or.
Yeah.
But in order to put together a package, you could.
Yeah, but there's a whole rule at A&R, right? And like you apply, there's hierarchy, you get points, and
Okay.
often you get to the end and they're out of money, right? And so now you get to the end and they're like, oh, we're out of money in that fund. We're gonna go get some of the money from that.
Okay, it does help
Yeah.
kind of put together a financing plan.
On page 8, lines 5 through 7, there's currently a program that allows a person with a residential failed wastewater system or a failed well to apply for a loan or a grant in order to replace that system. Currently, they have to prove that they've been denied financing by at least one other financial institution. That requirement is being struck on page 8, lines 5 through 7. They don't have to prove that they were denied financing. They can go directly to the agency to apply for an award.
I mean, I don't want to slow this down at all, but I had some constituents reach out to say they had done they had put money into getting their application ready for some kind of pot of money recently, and then found out there was no funds available.
Right.
Would they have any? I mean, I know this reduced barriers for them, but they also seem to be in this backlog, and I don't know if that's cleared.
It's hard for me to say. There was just an ARPA-funded program where the application period just ended January 31st. And so anybody that put money into getting their application together and then didn't apply until after the 31st, they missed the deadline.
Oh, I know they were within the deadline. I don't know if Tom got these emails too, but.
Well, it's a very oversubscribed program that A&R offered. I think there was $5 million that got bumped up during the final week of the session.
Okay.
Even that got drained out, and they're asking for more money, another appropriation again, because they know there are hundreds of families out there that either don't have potable water or working.
Maybe just to let us know when that money goes live again, so I can.
Well, you're actually going to see on page 9, lines 6 through 15, that they're gonna be able to use these funds for the ability to lend monies to an owner of one or more residents from the Vermont Wastewater and Potable Water Revolving Loan Fund and capitalized by money that has been transferred from the EPA Revolving Loan Fund to have those replacements of those residential wastewater systems. So it's that they're building more fluidity and flexibility into these funds to allow for uses where there has been great demand.
Well, I think that helps people I know, so that's
Okay,
great.
so basically what this bill does, because the bell is ringing, is allow money, I guess it's A&R, to transfer money from the EPA to the state revolving loan fund.
And that, right, and that is a kind of expanding the use of those state funds for additional programs where there has been great demand for things like individual residential loans and grants.
I'm ready to move this, I just don't want to report it, and there is a spelling grammatical error on page 26, line 10. I don't know if this has been through the editors or not, but it says war instead of wood. I know we need a really tight deadline, and if you want to fix that.
I can get that fixed by the Senate Secretary.
Okay. Was that a
I
motion?
move to approve draft 1.3 of SD.
Okay, Sir Clerk you really need to remove the tray from your desk, Sir Clerk, it's getting in your way. Do not put your tray on. Oh, it's never ceases. Funny. We have a motion to approve. No, to approve.
Did I say it right?
Yes. We haven't done anything. Further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed say no. Motion is carried. Who from Natural Resources would like to report this?
I would love to report that by not cutting someone else off.
I was really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I saw it.
Thank you,
I'll
Mike.
ask Melissa to.
Okay, we need to go upstairs.